correct, confirm it, and I want you to explain it while we're looking at your resources. The TDI doesn't have the expertise to figure out how to make TWIA financially stabilized, said Insurance Commissioner Eleanor Kitzman. Most of my staff are not insurance business people. They're regulators. There's a difference, so it does require the use of consultants. What did you mean by that? Because I chair criminal justice, and if I had the director of TDCJ before me, and he says, most of my people are correction officers, we don't know how to run or plan or administer prisons, so we have to have consultants. So my familiarity is another very large, important agency, and if he told me that most of his people can't stabilize his agency, so he needs consultants, I would be shocked and dismayed. So I'll give you an opportunity to explain that, because I'd like to drill down on what I'm told is a very, in my judgment, overuse of consultants by your agency. So in fairness, what did you mean that you don't have the staff inside the Insurance Commission to stabilize TWIA? Most of my staff are not insurance business people. They are regulators. There's a difference, so it does require the use of consultants. What did you mean?
Well, what I meant in that particular context is that, first of all, the decisions about what to do with TWIA, how it should be structured, how it should be funded, are established by the legislature. And that what we were attempting to do is to kind of explore and develop some options for consideration, by the legislature. And I've got a lot of good staff, the staff that they know a lot about the regulation of insurance, but when it comes to how to structure different programs, how to finance these programs, the particular operations of the programs, that there is a difference between the operation of an insurance business, which is what TWIA is, and the regulation of that business. The regulation of that business, consists of our, ensuring that they are following the law, that they are not discriminating, unfairly, against their customers, that their rates are set in a fair and objective way. But in terms of the actual operation of the business, there are lots of different ways to do that. Companies, make those decisions kind of for themselves. It's our job to make sure that they are doing it consistently with the law. But in terms of how to be the most competitive, what is the best way to deliver, those services and products, that's what I was referring to. That most of my staff probably has not worked in the insurance industry and doesn't have the kind of familiarity with that to be sort of the best, to be in the best position to make those sorts of recommendations. What we do is basically really is we try to help the legislature understand what it would take to implement various programs.
For instance, you set the amount of commissions that the agents ought to be paid by TWIA. Would that be something maybe your regulators and you might have the expertise to do?
Well, what we can do is review. Is that an
example of what a regulatory assignment would consider?
Well, generally, agent commissions are not something that's regulated by the Department of Insurance. Each company and agents contracts between themselves as to what those commissions are going to be. For TWIA, it is.
I understand they're getting 16%, and that's way over what the industry would pay their.
That is established as part of the plan of operation of TWIA, which is established by rule by the Department of Insurance.
Which you think your regulators would deal with. So if that's what your regulators and employees can do, I would suggest that's broken as well, because they're overpaying commissions much more than what the industry pays. But that's another subject probably for another moment. I want to go back to the consultants. So it's your own words that you don't have people internally can help you stabilize TWIA, so you need to turn to consultants. Have you, as you make your budget proposals, attempted to hire internal people that I would believe, and members might agree, would be more affordable and cost effective to have internal people with these expertise versus hiring a New York firm to do it at a very high rate, which I'll go into in a moment. So have you asked us today for internal people that would have that expertise?
Included within, our staffing and our budget for staffing, we have resources to do that, and we are attempting to hire additional or different type of skill sets, for employees. But I would also point out that the use of consultants is not something that's intended to be ongoing. It's typically a
What is your agreement with Alvarez and Marshall? What is the time frame that you signed them on? Do you have a contract with them, or what's?
We have the Department of Insurance has I believe 3 separate contracts with them. One were not for a time frame; it was for delivery of certain services or products. One was the initial review of exploring options for restructuring TWIA. That project has been completed. They have delivered their report.
When did they come on board, and what was their fees?
They were, for that original contract, the total expenses have been $385,000 under that contract.
That's just one contract.
That was the
Alvarez
first
and
one.
Marcel, and they're home based where?
They're worldwide. They've got multiple offices.
Where they're based.
I believe their home office is in New York.
Okay. So that's one contract.
That was one
as
contract.
As a consultant, $385,000. What about other contracts?
There was there's a second project that was for a review of a closed claims analysis, and the
Closed claims analysis. What does that mean?
Analysis of claims that have been closed, that have been settled, that have been closed.
Why would you study that?
To look for anomalies, to look for any factors that that we may be able to use to
Would you pay them for that? Would you pay them
Okay.
to look at things that have already been settled and filed, I assume?
That has been $185,000.
What did they find? What was their work product in terms of decision making? What counsel did they give you for $185,000?
That report is still in draft form and has not been completed. But I'm sorry?
Oh, yeah.
Have they been paid?
They have been paid.
So you paid someone that has not delivered a report.
We have a draft report, but it's not been finalized.
So why would we pay them if it's not a final report?
Central West, I'm trying to keep a little order here.
Okay.
Senator Whitmire has the floor.
Thank you.
Senator Lucio's next. I'm trying to be respectful.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
So you have a draft, and as Senator West pointed out, you have paid them for that assignment.
Yes.
Okay, you said they had a third contract.
And the third contract is related to their ongoing handling of TWIA claims.
What's that mean? Ongoing, what did you say?
Ongoing handling of open TWIA claims.
How do they handle it?
They are providing the claims management on behalf of TWIA.
They're actually handling the claims.
They are
consultants from New York.
They are managing the claims process.
How much is that contract?
That is, they have been paid a little over $1 million.
How'd you choose them? How were they hired? What was that just means we've got another job to go do, but we'll finish this. How did you choose this particular firm?
They were originally retained pursuant to an RFP.
I'm asking you, what was the criteria and who chose them? You chose them.
The department chose them pursuant to an RFP process.
Is it fair to say the department's you?
Yes.
Okay. Had you used them in South Carolina when you were the commissioner there?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Not one of their subsidiaries?
No, sir.
Okay. So who were the other competing concerns? Do you recall? Who else could you have hired?
We received multiple responses to the RFP. may have been Milliman, Tillinghast, those types of
How do you
firms.
quantify their billing? If you brought it back when we come back in here after a while, could you show me a billing for the $1 million contract? Was that a flat fee?
No, sir.
It's based on hours?
It's based on hours
How much they
and
get an hour?
employees.
How much was an hour?
The hourly rates vary depending on the level of person handling,
Well, let's
you know,
say
doing the.
What if it's a top guy like McDermott?
I don't recall. I can find that out. I have that for you.
While we're dealing with those consultants, who is RJMW?
I believe that is
Another consultant.
litigation audit or a law firm auditing firm that TWIA retained.
And I understand they have about 20 people serving as consultants. Is that accurate? Who are paid from $8.50 to $11.50 per day? You really need to bring this far because this is our opportunity to look at your resource allocation, your expenditure. It's interesting to me you start out your presentation saying you're kind of self-funded from fees, which concerns me that you kind of think that kind of allows you a huge area of discretion on how you spend your money, which obviously is not correct.
The items you're referring to are paid for by TWIA.
Sure, that comes under your jurisdiction.
It's not part of our budget.
Hopefully
Yes, sir.
you approve things. Getting back to the Alvarez Marshall, I noticed also in the Insurance Commission, the House, it was brought up they're staying at the Four Seasons. Are they still staying at the Four Seasons?
No, sir.
Where are they staying now?
I don't know where they're staying today. They're staying at lower priced hotel options. I believe they.
You want to let us know as part of our consideration for your budget where they're staying now?
I will find out where they have stayed most recently. I believe they stay at different places, different times when they're here.
We do pay their expenses,
Yes, sir.
which includes flying back and forth in here in New York.
Yes, sir.
The buck stops with you. Do you think this is appropriate?
Under these circumstances, I do think it's appropriate.
What circumstances?
That I do not think that TWIA was properly handling its claims management functions, that it was in a position to be preparing for the next storm event, while at the same time trying to resolve outstanding claims going back to the 2008 event, that they were overwhelmed by those activities.
Well, let me just tell you, we look at over 200 agencies' budgets, and some of them are broken as well. I'd suggest the Juvenile Justice Department is still in a crisis mode. None of them that I am familiar with in state government turn to these expensive consultants from New York who stay at the Four Seasons, fly to New York regularly, that we pick up the cost. But at the same time, you got RJMW and their 20 employees making $850, $1,100 a day. I just think you've kind of really lost control, or maybe you're very much in control of the use of consultants. And I think as we proceed on your budget proposals, you're going to have to justify why you need any more state resources or revenue when you're spending these kind of monies on consultants. And I would ask you to break down the billing of the $1 million contract and really walk us through and justify, if you can, these expenditures, particularly when there's already been a legislative committee question these expenditures as far back as November. And here we are in February, and we've got to write your budget, and I think it is still out of control, and I would ask you to justify this. And I would also suggest to you that you're probably going to get an opportunity to explain all this when you come before nominations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.